The day Mirabel found out her broke best friend owned half the city, she was standing barefoot outside her apartment with 2 suitcases and nowhere to go. And the worst part? She had told him the night before that she could never date a poor man. If only she knew what that rejection would do to him. You're watching African Stories That Touch. That morning, her bags sat quietly by the door, like silent witnesses. Everything she owned packed into 2 tired suitcases. The corridors smelled of mud as rain pelted down in angry torrents. Neighbors watched from half-open doors, pretending not to enjoy the drama. And there she was, a first-class graduate with nowhere to go. In front of her stood Madame Joyce, arms folded, patience completely finished. Mirabel begged. Her voice shook as she promised one more week, one more chance, one more miracle. But Madame Joyce had heard those promises too many times, and this time the answer was final. She had to leave. And just like that, her world began to collapse until her phone rang. Mirabel stared at the screen before answering. It was Jason, her best friend, her fellow broke graduate, the only person who truly understood how hard life had become. The moment she told him what was happening, his voice changed. Calm, confident, and assured. He asked her to give the phone to the landlady. Mirabel hesitated, but she trusted him. Seconds later, Madame Joyce's expression changed. Her tone softened. Her anger disappeared like smoke in the wind. And suddenly, Mirabel was allowed to stay. Just like that. No explanation, no drama, just one mysterious phone call. Mirabel should have been suspicious, but instead, she was simply relieved and deeply grateful. She had no idea this moment would change everything. Hours later, under the hot Lagos sun, while walking together, Mirabel tried to force the truth out of Jason. What exactly did he say to the landlady? Jason grinned like someone hiding a delicious secret. He casually admitted that he told the landlady he was her husband. Mirabel nearly fainted. She laughed it off immediately. Husband? Jason? Impossible. In her eyes, Jason was kind, funny, loyal, but broke. Very broke. And Mirabel had made one thing painfully clear. She wanted a rich man, not a liability. Someone who could give her the soft life she dreamed about. Jason laughed with her, but behind the laughter, something inside him quietly cracked. And Mirabel didn't notice. Life moved fast after that. Job applications, rejection emails, classmates posting promotions and weddings, while Mirabel refreshed her inbox and prayed for a miracle. Every day felt like standing still while the world sped forward. Desperation has a way of reshaping dreams. One evening, Mirabel announced she was joining dating apps. Rich men were busy, she reasoned. Rich men were shy. Rich men hide online to toast fine girls. Jason warned her gently, suggested she focus on her CV, suggested patience. But Mirabel laughed it off. After all, what did Jason know about success? He was just as broke as she was. Or so she believed. Her first date arrived quickly. She prepared like she was meeting royalty. Perfect outfit, perfect makeup, perfect confidence. She imagined luxury cars, expensive dinners, a man who would change her life forever. Instead, reality slapped her hard. The ride to the restaurant drained the little money she had. The rich man waiting for her turned out to be the exact opposite of everything she dreamed about. And when she demanded transport money after the disaster, the man turned his pockets inside out. Empty. Empty pockets, empty promises, empty hope. Mirabel stormed out furious. When she told Jason, he laughed so hard he could barely breathe. And somehow, that made it worse. She accused him of being bitter because she called him broke. Jason smirked, said maybe. But his smile didn't reach his eyes anymore. More dates followed, more disappointment. Men who wanted to split bills, men who still lived with their mothers, men who were just as lost as she was. One by one, the dream collapsed. Eventually, Mirabel gave up. She dropped onto her bed one night and declared she was done with dating, done chasing rich men, done chasing dreams that never chased her back. Jason saw his chance. He confessed that he liked her. Not joking, not teasing, truly liked her. Mirabel froze. Jason had always been safe, familiar, constant, like air. And maybe that was the problem. She had never allowed herself to imagine him differently. She gently told him she only saw him as a friend. Jason smiled bravely, promised he wouldn't bother her again, and then he disappeared from her life. Days turned into weeks. Silence crept in slowly. At first, it felt peaceful, then strange, then painful. Days felt longer, jokes felt less funny. She checked her phone more than she admitted. Why did she miss him so much? Meanwhile, Jason tried to move on, and that was the moment his life began to fall apart. At first, Jason told himself he would be fine, that heartbreak was normal, that time would heal everything. He stopped calling, stopped texting, stopped visiting. He told himself distance would protect his heart. But silence is dangerous when your thoughts refuse to stay quiet. Days turned into sleepless nights, nights turned into endless mornings. Food lost its taste, music lost its joy. Even laughter began to feel foreign. The city that once felt alive now felt heavy and slow. He replayed her words over and over. I like you as a friend. It echoed in his head like a curse he couldn't escape. Jason had built his entire life around protecting his identity, around making sure no one loved him for money, around hoping one day someone would choose him, just him. And the one woman he wanted had chosen friendship instead. Loneliness crept in slowly, then all at once. He stopped answering calls, stopped leaving the house, stopped caring about anything. The strong, cheerful man Mirabel knew began disappearing piece by piece. Until one night, he scared himself. That was the night his sister Tari arrived unannounced. Tari had always known her brother better than anyone. She could hear pain in his silence. She saw the truth the moment she walked into his house. Curtains closed, plates untouched, lights off. A home that no longer felt alive. Jason tried to act normal, tried to joke, tried to smile. But sisters see through lies faster than the truth. Tari refused to leave. She cooked for him, forced him outside, forced him to talk, forced him to remember who he was before heartbreak convinced him he was nothing. Slowly, painfully, she pulled him back from the edge he never admitted he reached. She reminded him of the empire waiting for him, the company he had ignored, the responsibilities he had abandoned. Life did not stop because his heart broke. And slowly, Jason began to stand again. Not healed, not whole, but breathing. One day, Madame Joyce casually asked Mirabel why Jason stopped visiting. After all, he was the one paying her rent. Mirabel froze. Her rent? Jason had been paying her rent secretly all along. In that moment, guilt hit her like a storm. Memories replayed painfully. Every insult, every joke about him being broke, every time she dismissed him. Suddenly, everything felt different. She rushed to Jason's house in a storm of emotion, only to find him laughing with Tari, and jealousy exploded before logic could speak. She accused him of moving on, accused him of replacing her, thanked him bitterly for paying her rent. Jason's expression changed instantly. Pain returned to his eyes like it had never left. He asked the question that had been burning inside him for weeks. Did she come because she loved him, or because she finally discovered the rent?
His voice trembled as he told her the truth. How he stopped eating, how he stopped sleeping, how he almost lost himself completely, how Tari had to rescue him from the darkness he never showed anyone. And all Mirabel could say was, "Thank you for paying my rent." In that moment, Jason believed the worst. He believed she didn't care. Mirabel saw the damage her words caused, saw the walls rising in his eyes, and for the first time she realized love could leave if you pushed it too far. Tears came before pride could stop them. She apologized, not softly, not carefully, but desperately. She confessed everything she had been blind to admit, how she missed him, how silence hurt more than rejection, how she had been chasing money while ignoring the love standing beside her. She told him she loved him. Not his help, not his kindness, him. Jason stayed silent for a long moment that felt like forever. Then Tari stepped forward, smiling, calling Mirabel her future sister-in-law. And for the first time since the heartbreak began, Jason laughed again. The next day, the final truth arrived in a luxury car. Jason stepped out in a tailored suit, revealing the life he had hidden for years, the empire, the wealth, the secret he protected so fiercely. He had never been broke. He had only been searching for real love. And somehow, after mistakes, heartbreak, silence, and second chances, Mirabel had finally seen him clearly. She hugged him tightly, tears mixing with laughter. Because sometimes love doesn't come easily. Sometimes it breaks you first so you can learn how to value it. And the lesson? Never mistake quiet love for small love. Because the people who love you without noise are often the ones who would give you everything, even when you don't notice.